Welcome to the Deucies reaction show. We're going to discuss and react to the most memorable moments from the 10th annual Deucey Awards. I'm Aussie Nate, and I'm joined by my friends, the pride of Buckhead, Georgia, Garrison Ryfun, and the always insightful Roth from Wyoming. Together, we're going to break down the most surprising wins, the biggest snubs, and the most talked about moments from this year's Deucies. From the red carpet fashion to the after party shenanigans, we're going to give our take on everything that went down at the Deucies. So grab a cold one and get ready to laugh, cry, and cringe along with us as we react to the biggest night in entertainment. Roth, how you doing?
Great. Do I need to go grab a cold one? My fridge is right there. I can do it. I just
Might
got
need
water,
one.
but I can do a beer.
How about you, Garrison? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to break this down. I'm excited to talk about, I guess this is your first year voting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, 3 voters this year, all here.
Yeah,
So
I know. It's a little, it's something a little weird about this one. We're on the official channel. We're all 3 voters this year. It feels
We
like
sold
we
out.
were like rebels last year,
Yeah,
sort of, but now we're conforming, and it's kind of, and Mikey's backstage.
We're getting the Deucecast
Man is
money.
controlling the show right now. It feels weird.
our Deucecast overlords letting us do this.
He could end this at any moment if he wanted to.
Yeah, he really could.
Or if he falls asleep, we're just going to have to leave, and it's just going to be a blank screen until he wakes up.
That'd be funny.
Might be better than what we've got planned for tonight anyway. So thinking ahead, how many of the movies from the Deucies have you guys seen?
So I 100%ed the Deucies this year.
Wow.
Which I 100% the Deucies every year except last year. Which was kind of interesting because last year we went on the show and I was like, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Last year I 100%ed it. This year I missed 3. So I did not see Don't Make Me Go, Living, and Resurrection.
I could ruin Don't Make Me Go.
I will probably never see it. So
what a twist.
Worth it. It was good. It was a good movie.
I
also 100%ed
movie,
it.
but that twist, while it is set up, is also kind of like, what? Oh
yeah, just from nowhere.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a feeling this is going to take a little while, so should we jump right in?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I have some slides, if I can.
Awesome, because I'm going to need guidance.
Slides. Okay, is Michael going to be ready for that?
There we go.
Look at that. He was. What a producer we've got behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he could go forward backwards on us and mess with it.
So we went all fancy this year with the slideshow. State testing was going on. I had a little bit of free time. All right, so let's start with Best Supporting Actor. So we had Daniel Brühl for All Quiet on the Western Front, Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Ralph Fiennes for The Menu, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Brad Pitt for Babylon, and Ke Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And obviously Ke Kwan was the winner. What do we think? Did we miss anyone?
I voted for Ke Kwan.
Yeah, Ke Kwan was
the entire award season voted for Ke Kwan. I think this is your grand slam, but easy winner for this category.
Ralph Fiennes was my number 2, though.
Let me see what my number 2 was. I don't remember.
I've got it right here. I went
Ralph Fiennes for number 2. I thought that was the case, but I didn't want to say that.
Yep. I also had him number 2.
Yeah, I thought
for me this was probably the easiest one.
Yeah.
If we didn't have such an easy choice, Ralph Fiennes probably would have won his first Deucey. Yeah.
Yeah. That darn Ke Kwan.
Well, he would have had 3 first place votes right here. So
yeah, easily.
Was there anyone that you think we missed that should have been on there? I mean, I don't think anyone would have beaten.
That's
the big questions.
That's a question that let me pull up my.
Yeah, we really prepared.
Oh man.
I think I had a couple down here, but Justin Long for Barbarian. I mean, that was a shorter piece, but just him measuring that room looking
Yeah,
for square footage was pretty good.
yeah. That
Brian
was the
Tyree
film.
Henry. Go
That was
ahead.
the film where they wanted me to hate him, but I just couldn't.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
Justin Long. I mean, except for like right at the end, of course. But
Yeah.
but I can't hate Justin Long.
We won't talk about the main star of this movie, but Glenn Powell was very good in Devotion. I don't think very many people saw it.
You know what? Glenn Powell in Top Gun Maverick
Yes,
is
that
pretty
too.
dang good.
Yeah. Miles Teller, and I don't know if he would be up for
Yeah.
supporting for that or not, but
That's tough.
it is. And any of the acting categories were kind of tough for that one, but Devotion was very good. And both the lead actor, who is probably never going to act again, and Glenn Powell were very good in it.
I saw that one as well. I enjoyed that one. But I was thinking Brian Tyree Henry for Lemon in Bullet Train could have also been a nom.
Yeah.
Yes, the actor who will never work in Hollywood again. But Ezra Miller, giant blockbuster. Anyway,
true.
let's move on.
That's true. He'll probably be back.
Yeah.
I feel like this was a pretty slam dunk. I feel like we at the Deucies got it right.
Yes. Agree.
All right.
I humbly
put that as
say
a
the
win.
same. Yes.
All right, let's move on to our next category. Best documentary. Girl in the Picture, Mickey, The Story of a Mouse, The Pez Outlaw, Senior, and The Sound of 007. And Senior was the winner here.
My number one. That was that documentary was very good, emotional at the end. I know Dave made a comment during the Deucecast that he was surprised the Pez Outlaw didn't take it away. The Pez Outlaw was my 5th slot. It was my least favorite of these.
My Pez Outlaw was my 4th.
4th for me too.
Yeah, I had Mickey Story of a Mouse at 5 because I watched it and I was just kind of like, okay, this is fine. I mean,
Craig,
okay.
what is that?
Whatever.
When we get it right, yeah, that's what we're gonna say.
Pez Outlaw. Look, I actually voted Girl in the Picture number 1. I don't know. It hit me a little more than Senior did at the time. I watched it. You just get in a certain mood. But Senior was my number 2 and like a strong number 2. I had a hard time picking that one personally. So and I was completely fine with Senior winning.
That hit me like right in the right spot. Senior did.
I understand.
My number 5 was The Sound of 007. I just couldn't get into that
007 was my number 2.
I totally get why that's your number 5. But it also hit me just right.
Senior won?
Are we supposed to play the episode and like be like, commentary track? I mean, what do you? Yes, we discussed the Deucies. All right.
Were there any that we should have had on there that missed the cut?
There's a political one that was very good, but probably doesn't deserve
Mulvaney?
a slot. I don't know. I didn't see very many documentaries this year.
Fire of Love, Mulvaney, any of those? I haven't watched them.
Mulvaney was really good. That's the only one I had.
Is that on Netflix?
It was somewhere streaming.
Okay.
Maybe Hulu.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, that story was crazy. I won't go into it just not to spoil it for anyone, but it won the Oscar, right?
Yes. It was the like maker of It's in Prison, right? That's the one that won the Oscar.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely worth a watch if you get some time.
We got some harsh critics in the chat here.
I know.
Mickey, The Story of a Mouse, I thought was a very entertaining one. It kind of went on for a little long, even though it was a pretty short documentary, and they just it felt like rambling at times. But the whole history of Mickey stuff was good.
To me, the Pez Outlaw didn't ramble. I just didn't care that much.
Yeah.
There was no hero there.
It felt like villains. Mickey was a bit of a mess to me.
Yeah.
A little bit. But it sounded 007. Okay, yes, it probably should have been my number 5, Aussie. But also I just love the sound. The only thing I didn't like, I probably would have had it even higher if it did the dang Casino Royale theme, but it totally skipped over that. And I was like, anyway. That really made me mad.
So it sounds like we're all in agreement that Senior was the right winner here.
Heartfelt
I think so.
tearjerker.
I probably would have voted it number 1 in a different mood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, we're moving along pretty good here. Next category, best ensemble cast. We had Babylon, Bullet Train, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, and Women Talking. And the winner was obviously Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Again, to me, this was a slam dunk.
It was.
So, I didn't vote at number 1.
I actually did. This ensemble's a tough category.
It is. I didn't want to go with like my favorite of the movies, which would have been Everything Everywhere. Yeah.
And actually, I'm just checking mine. I had it number 2. I had Bullet Train as number 1.
I did too. I had Bullet Train number 1.
I had Bullet Train number 2. And so the way I kind of judge it is, how did the cast work off of each other and whatnot?
Yeah.
So
I felt like Bullet Train was just slightly stronger in the ensemble cast to me. Just all the characters that get introduced in that film, and then I sometimes quickly killed off. But they all were really memorable and great. They worked really well. Everything Everywhere was a better film.
Michael, you can't put your own
Mikey.
comments up.
That's Mikey, guys.
Hey, I'm going by what Dave had in the official ballot.
The official ballot says a Knives Out Mystery.
I see Glass Onion. I had fairly low. Yeah.
Oh, this is the one I announced. I just remembered that.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I should say
right.
GD4AM announced.
Yes, because Sage and Tate introduced themselves as each other.
Yes. If you guys want to do that, fine.
See, Dave, well, look, me and Aussie tried. And
I'm sorry, I had EEAO as number 1.
I think probably enough people had it number 2 that and there was maybe a little bit of all over the place for some of the others. Babylon was probably pretty high up for
Mikey.
For several people, yeah. I had that at number 4.
Yeah.
Babylon number 3, I had Glass Onion at 4, and I did not care for Women Talking, so that was my last one.
I need to find it. Oops.
That's just a general rule I have.
Ensemble. So Bullet Train 1, Everywhere 2, Babylon 3. I had Glass Onion at 4, which should tell you what my 5 was. But
yeah.
I just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. We'll get into it for screenplay later. So
yeah, I think that maybe in a different year, Glass Onion would have been higher up the list, because I looked back in the previous Deucies. Knives Out was the winner of this one, the ensemble cast, and I think the cast was probably just as nearly as good as a Knives Out. But Bullet Train and Everything, All at Once is just a tough beat.
So the thing to me about Glass Onion, and maybe the plot to me taints it a little bit for me. I really love Knives Out. I think Knives Out was great. Felt like kind of a resurgence was happening with murder mysteries, but Glass Onion, I kind of felt like I got cheated by the twist a little bit, and I was like, I didn't like it as much, but.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. So last year, West Side Story won Best Ensemble. Da 5 Bloods won the year before that. Knives Out, Crazy Rich Asians, Baby Driver, Sing Street, The Hateful Eight.
Yeah, Knives Out deserved to win. And Glass Onion. Oh, I think if I had enjoyed the film a little more, I probably would have put it higher.
That's a very funny comment from Matt. Those are the leaks that I'm about.
All right, so it sounds like maybe this is one that we maybe got wrong.
No, well, that's tough. It's so close though. This was one that I debated a lot, going back and forth between Bullet Train and Everything Everywhere, that I'm fine with it, but I do think Bullet Train probably should have won. Yeah.
This was definitely 1A,
1B.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I accept the outcome.
All right, best animated film. Apollo 10.5, A Space Age Childhood. The Bad Guys, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And obviously Pinocchio was the winner here. What'd you think, Roth?
Nope, I disagree. I had Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio as number 3. I actually had Marcel the Shell with Shoes On was one of the most delightful movies I've ever seen in my entire life, and it was just an absolute treat. And I actually had Apollo 10.5 above that too. That was an early 2022 movie, but I really enjoyed that one. It just kind of hit that. It was just a great vibe to that movie.
I had that as number 1.
Oh wow!
Apollo
Guillermo?
10.5. No, Apollo 10.5 was my number 1.
It was.
I enjoyed that one the most.
That was your number 1. I will not tell you what my number 5 was. Beavis was my number 4.
Beavis was my number 5.
I had
Number
some
4.
laughs, but overall I was kind of like,
And this is my first Beavis and Butthead thing that I've watched.
I have to make the argument. I'm gonna get up on my soapbox a little bit. Beavis and Butthead, of all these films, is probably the most Deucecast of these animated films. But also, I'm trying to vote for my favorite of the animated films.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like I should vote.
Yeah.
But Beavis and Butthead is probably the most Deucecast. Marcel the Shell was close in my heart. And yet I still voted 3 for it, and Bad Guys over it. I'm sorry.
Marcel was just the cute.
I had it at 3.
I had never, I was not familiar with the YouTube videos at all, like the shorts.
Yeah, I knew the YouTube
I had no idea about them. So this was my first introduction to Marcel, and I just want to put Marcel in my pocket and take him home with me.
It was really cute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was charming. But I put it on with my daughter, and she lasted about 3 minutes, and then she was out of there.
They just don't get it. The thing about Pinocchio, though, specifically, I mean, it's just such a technical achievement.
For sure.
The stop motion animation is brilliant.
It's such a better story than the live action Pinocchio that we got. That kind of elevated itself.
Bad taste out of your mouth. Yeah.
So do you think that played into it?
I just watched the live
Pinocchio
action one, so
it really did for me, because I watched that live action one and I was close to grabbing a spoon and peeling my eyes out. And my ears because of Tom Hanks' accent.
I didn't hate it. I didn't like it, but I didn't hate it.
I didn't watch it. My mom really liked it, but yeah. My mom also watched it.
My daughter liked that version. I did not show her the Del Toro version.
Yeah, my mom is not a good judge.
Del Toro's version is definitely a little too dark for little kids, yeah.
For sure.
Well,
I remember animation is not a genre, it's a medium.
Yes. Yeah. And so yeah, we got to ask the Deucecast, why is an animated film not up for Best Picture? I mean, come on. Maybe next year with Across the Spider-Verse. We'll see.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm looking in my vote. That's already my number 1. I'm calling my shot. That's probably the movie I've been most excited for years now.
There are a lot of films this summer that I'm very excited for. No write-ins.
So it sounds like we are maybe not in agreement here.
I say Pinocchio. I think that's the best of them.
Worthy winner, but I would, if it was only up to me, it would not have won.
And I gotta go with that too. So I think if it was just you and me, Jacob, it would have been Apollo 10.5, probably taking it away.
Yeah.
Jack Black was the narrator there, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't care for it. I feel bad.
It's Glenn Powell. Being in a thing
Glenn
that
Powell
goes in the
cool
air.
Yeah.
David. That means he's seen 2 of them. Some quick math there.
I've only seen Beavis. Okay, well, I mean,
calling us children.
Yeah, come on. I think you have to rent Marcel. I think that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Though no, it's on Showtime.
Is it now? Okay, or was it?
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it.
I think I rented as well because I had Showtime, but at the time of my watch, it was not.
The Bad Guys. Yes, that's why it was my number 2.
Bad Guys was my number 4, but I liked it.
I am a Sam Rockwell mark, and I really enjoyed the film. Yeah, I'm surprised I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was not a bad one. My daughter loved that. That if she got to pick, she would have voted for that. That was her favorite by a
The
mile.
kid in me probably enjoyed that one the most.
All right, next category: best action film: Ambulance, The Batman, Bullet Train, Top Gun: Maverick, Violent Night, or maybe
Glad
The
you had
Northman.
the right movie on here because it was violent. It was supposed to be Violent Night.
Okay.
I got that confirmed to myself.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation pre-extra one day. It was like, it's supposed to be Violent Night. And I was like, oh, so we're going to resend out ballots? And no.
It
I'm
took a
pretty sure
while
my
for the
ballot
ballots to
said
come out
Violent
in the
Night.
first place.
Oh, did it? Oh, what did he say? Northman on the show then? I don't know. Anyway.
No, my ballot said Northman.
Yeah, ballot said, yeah. I changed my ballot.
I changed mine as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have checked mine later because I didn't
yours.
change anything.
Oh, he changed the file then. Okay.
Oh.
Cool.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, Violent
Top Gun
Night's,
was a winner here.
Violent Night's easily the worst of these films. It was all right, but I'm sorry,
Still a lot
Ozzy.
of fun.
it was Leguizamo was fun, and so was Harbor, but I thought it was the weakest action film here.
I did too.
It
Well,
was
actually, I liked Violent Night more than Ambulance. The constant drone shots were like,
I see.
We get it. You know how to use a drone now.
I thought the drone shots were well employed in comparison to something like The Gray Man from 2022.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where the drone shots were and they were used in transitions and just not well. It was anyway.
Yeah.
What Top Gun Maverick? It seemed like it just dragged on and on. On. And on.
Let me just. Oh no, I just remembered that someone likes the Gray Man. He's in the chat.
It was not that good.
I'm sorry. I think all 5 of these films are good action films, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to say. I actually kind of had a tough time between Bullet Train and Top Gun here, because on the one hand, I was like, on one part of my brain was like, Bullet Train's got to be the winner. It's the best action film. Because in a certain sense, it is. It's the best action film up here in a certain sense. But then Top Gun Maverick is also kind of an action film.
It's my biggest thing
less
was
of an action film.
So much more than an action film.
It is.
And when you're voting on best action film, that was a big toss-up too. It was like, yeah.
Those were my 1 and 2, and I was going with one. I was going with Bullet Train over Maverick. And I showed my dad my ballot, and he was like, Bullet Train over Maverick? And I was like, well, okay.
Violent Night was actually my number 3, and The Batman was my number 4.
I went Bullet Train 1, Top Gun Maverick 2, because to me,
Bullet Train was more action. That we didn't. Yeah.
Bullet Train was a lot more
better
physical
action movie. Yep, and it was just like constant, where Top Gun Maverick, there was a lot of, story in between where the action was part of the story for Bullet Train.
Yeah, that's fair. Again, I what did I do that? I blacked out the last 15 minutes or so. I don't know.
It was pretty close to the Glosson impression of Scott Ryfun.
I think that's just my impression of my dad. I think it's most people's exaggerated impression of my dad.
That's fair.
I wound up going with Maverick. I'm happy with the win, but I think this is another 1A, 1B where Bullet Train winning, I may have even been happier. But yeah, I think Northman probably should have been in over either Ambulance or Violent Night, but that's up to the Deucecast body to do that.
Yep. Northman was my 3rd favorite movie of the year. I liked that thing a lot.
I didn't even see it, but I have a lot of people that I know that liked it. So
I mean,
I was waiting to watch for the Deucies, and then they didn't nominate it. And I was like, well,
it was not like the real like Bullet Train action movie. It was like a gritty like Viking Eggers version of an action movie, and it was intense, and there's a lot of weird stuff, but it worked for me. I agree with that. The Northman definitely was a miss, even though it was kind of included, even though it wasn't supposed to be there.
I felt cold and dirty watching that movie. Best.
The cold and dirty is a very you feel it, and you're like, it's just brutal.
Craig, but you haven't seen the other film. Just watch it.
And like the action in Top Gun Maverick is insane and like
Spectacular
unparalleled
for a plane action.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Action
just
and Bullet
doesn't.
Train. Look, Bullet Train is David Leitch, who is co-director with Chad Stahelski on the first John Wick film. Was not credited. The DGA wouldn't credit them. There's a whole drama about that. You can listen to it on the Light the Fuse podcast, the whole background on that stuff. But then he went on to do Deadpool 2 and a bunch of other stuff. And I think he was involved with the Matrix films because Stahelski was. And that's, I think, how they met. They did a lot of second unit directing, action directing together. Good question. He's highlighting his own comments.
Improper question. Top Gun is about it's about naval aviators.
Wait,
not
Jacob,
Air Force.
he is highlighting his own comments here.
Yes. Does Australia have a navy? Is the proper question if we're referring to Top Gun.
We have a navy.
I assume so.
Thanks to the US, we're going to have some high-tech subs here soon.
Nice. That's exciting. Craig.
And by here, I don't mean Iowa. I mean Australia.
Iowa does not have a navy. Neither does Wyoming. We do have have some Navy people here in Wyoming, though, because we've got an Air Force base. They work pretty close together. To clarify, I didn't say it wasn't an action movie. I said it was more than an action movie. And action to me is not. This isn't the best fighting movie, the best fights movie. This is the best action, and
that was
the
what I had
flying is action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can live with Top Gun Maverick winning it.
In general, you're what?
I can live with Top Gun taking this one home.
I think in general, when you think of action, you think of hand-to-hand combat.
Yep.
But there is a case to be made for Top Gun, and it took it largely because it was a great film, and a lot of people loved it. That's really why it took it. And Bullet Train was also a great film, but it was not as beloved. I think that's really your answer as to why this took home the Deucey.
Matt, does the Redneck Navy pal around with the Redneck Yacht Club?
What?
Have you never heard that Craig Morgan song?
No, I don't listen to country.
Yeah, Redneck Yacht Club. It's a great song. It's a great song. I'm sure Matt.
All right, moving on.
Thank you. Floundering.
All right. Well, moving on to best comedy. Bullet Train, Confess, Fetch, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. And Bullet Train, of course, was our winner here. What do you think, Garrison?
I had the toughest time with this category.
This is tough.
4 out of the 5 of these films were legitimately number 1 at some point in my brain. So first off, I saw Glass Onion. That was my number 5. I didn't think it was as funny as the other 4, to me personally. You guys can make a case, and that's fine. Then I think I saw next Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which I was like, this is my number 1. This is great. It's hilarious. Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal are knocking this out of the park. It's awesome. It's fun. Then I watched Confess Fletch, and I was like, all right, I'm a Confess Fletch mark now. I need a sequel. I need more John Hamm as Fletch. This is my number 1. Then I watched Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, and I'm like, everything is so funny. Confess Fletch and that were battling it out, and also Unbearable Weight was kind of coming back on top. Bullet Train was 4 for me. I thought it was funny, but the other 3 were even funnier to me. I just had a really tough time. I wound up picking Confess Fletch. Yeah. I put Unbearable Weight at 2 just for Mikey's sake. I was hoping that he would get the win, but
Unbearable Weight was my number 1. I thought that was the best movie of these 5. Well, I'm going to take that comment back, but it was very good, and it was very funny.
It was close to the best of these 5.
Yeah. It's between that and Bullet Train. And Bullet Train was my number 2. I had it as my number 2 just because I'm a mark for physical comedy. And some of the physical comedy was very funny in that. Confess Fletch was my number 3. That was the first Fletch property that I've like consumed. So, but I liked it, and I think John Hamm's a very good comedic actor. Glass Onion was 4, and Weird was actually my number 5. I liked
Wow.
it. It was just a little bit too weird.
I loved the fake biopic
Yeah.
angle. And him getting shot at the end. I was like, what is this? This is ridiculous.
Well, I was watching it and I pulled a Dave where I like pulled out my phone. I was like, this can't be true. And all these things that were happening. It took me a while to figure out.
Lord.
Earl, that was hurtful.
Yeah.
Man, he's got a potty mouth in the chat.
I know.
I had Bullet Train as number 1. Unbearable Weight was number 1 for a long time, and then I rewatched it, and it didn't hold up for me as much the second time around.
See, I did not rewatch it.
I've only seen it once, and I really enjoyed it.
I saw it in the theater too, and I think movies in the theater are funnier than at home.
Yep. But then I watched my wife at home, and it was like, it was still good. It was, I think, still in my top 10 of the year, but it definitely dropped down a bunch. But Weird was my number 2. The movie was hilarious.
I had a lot of love for Weird, and also kind of the just how Weird Al it was, and almost UHF it was at times, and yeah, it was awesome and bizarre.
Unbearable Weight also gave us just a fantastic meme. The Pedro laughing
the car when they're on acid,
just
whatever they're on.
Great, yeah.
Aren't they? What are they? They're on drugs, right? Is it acid?
Mushrooms, aren't they?
Mushrooms.
Yeah, something. One of those psychedelics.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to ask this for some of the others, but were there any movies we think we missed here? The only one I had was maybe Jackass Forever.
I didn't see that one.
I did see that one. That was a good one. The second half of Barbarian was pretty funny.
Yeah.
The first half, definitely not. I screamed alone at my house watching that on the couch and almost threw my phone into the ceiling. But the second half, especially that quick jump cut.
In terms of comedy,
did either of you see Bros?
I did not.
I think Chip and Dale maybe could have been up there, maybe.
Chip and Dale could have been animated too. That was
It could have, yeah. But otherwise, I mean, I think everything that I've seen that could have made it and should have made it did. Yeah.
So
I don't even think. Sorry, I'm going through my comedy 2022 films that I watched on Letterboxd. Some of these I don't consider comedy. We've got comedic scenes, but good lord.
So do we think Bullet Train was a worthy winner here?
No. I think the Deucies got this one wrong. Well, I think this was Nick Cage's year, and it should have been Confess Fletch, but I think it was Nick Cage's year and Pedro Pascal's year to win the Deucey for best comedy.
I'm with Craig on this, Matt. I am not voting for Murder Mystery 2 next year. It will be my number 5.
You think it's going to be dominated?
I don't know. If it is, it's going to be my number 5. That's my promise to you, the audience. Of course he would. The Deucecast itself disagrees. Yes. I don't know who that is, but it's...
Yeah, and he keeps highlighting his own comments. No, I love it.
Well, that way I don't have to try to do it because...
Yeah. No, he's doing a good job producing.
I lose track.
Oh, yeah. Great producer. I might hire him for the radio station.
All right, moving on to what I believe is a new category this year, Best Sci-Fi or Horror Movie. We had Avatar, The Way of the Water, Barbarian, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Nope, and Prey. And Everything Everywhere All at Once was the winner here, which not too surprising. It's pretty much sweeping most places.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by the combined category itself, because I think sci-fi and horror paired up is an interesting combination, and it really conflicted my brain as to, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to pick the best film, and not necessarily the best horror film, which and in some people's minds, they hold horror films in a lower esteem and same thing with sci-fi. So it's very an interesting combo of. Well, and I was surprised something like Smile wasn't nominated, or there were a few. Yeah, there were a few big. Yeah, X and
X was
Pearl.
definitely
Pearl
Fresh.
being up there. Fresh, yeah.
Fresh.
Mikey
Loved Fresh.
Yeah.
This was
That was
tough because Everything Everywhere All at Once was my number 2. Barbarian was my number 1, far and away. Everything Everywhere All at Once was kind of my number 2 by default because Nope, Prey, and Avatar: Way of Water were like just not my favorites. Like Nope was a fine movie, Prey was okay, and Avatar is Avatar.
I will caveat and say that Nope is better than Prey and Avatar. But it's still not as up. It's still not up there personally for me either with Barbarian and Everything Everywhere.
See, I had Barbarian at 4. I had Nope at 2 and Prey at 3.
You had Barbarian at 4.
I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that movie hit me really hard. I liked it a lot.
It did too. And like I don't watch that many horror movies, and so the ones that I do are the ones that people are like, it's really good, you should watch it. And so
Black Phone, that's a good call. That could have easily made
Black
the list
Phone.
as well.
Oh, you know what? Firestarter.
It's a good thing they got rid of worst actor category.
Did anyone have Avatar higher than 5? Yes, Craig. I had Avatar 3. Prey was my 5.
I had Prey at 5.
Prey was awesome.
I've never seen a Predator film before.
I haven't either.
And I was like, this is fine.
What?
I don't know. Like
You've never seen any Predator films?
No. Mm-hmm. I was not the right audience.
You gotta go watch the first one.
Yeah.
And then like you can skip the rest. But that first one is classic.
I definitely want to watch it at some point.
I also kind of forgot I was watching a horror movie at one point because like we were just following the Native Americans, and I was like, okay. And then like people just start getting ripped apart, and I was like, oh yeah.
I wish the movie wasn't straight to Hulu. I wish it maybe had a little bit bigger of a CGI budget because like CGI isn't like it's nothing that's going to like knock points off of a movie for the most part unless it's like really bad. But I think it could have been way more awesome than what it was.
Yep, I agree.
Like that the bear predator fight was awesome.
Yeah,
that would have been cool to see on the big screen as well.
Oh yeah,
like, I think it would have the sound and everything would have just made it even more enjoyable.
I thought they had I don't know. I thought they had a fine film, but I didn't. I don't also think I don't know if Predator is my thing. Either. I'll have to find out.
My guess would be
definitely do. You guys should definitely do it on your podcast, Roth. That'd be a fun episode.
I've been going to some 80s movies, so maybe I'll just continue that.
All right, so that's not the remake.
No, the remake's one of the worst, but the original is one of the best.
There you go.
So do we think that this one's correct, or did the Deucies get it wrong?
I think it's far and away the best sci-fi film on this list. I think it's the best film on this list. Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's just a cultural event almost for a certain segment of film going population.
I could see it being nominated in all 3, Craig.
I don't think Cocaine Bear gets
Oh,
nominated.
I hope it does. I loved that movie. I didn't give it 5 stars like Craig did on Letterboxd, but I laughed my ass off in that movie.
Oh, man.
It was ridiculous.
I haven't seen it.
You gotta watch it.
Okay, so
it's on Peacock now.
Let's say we take the sci-fi out of this, and it's just horror.
Just to let you know, in case you're like, oh, you got to watch this movie. You guys are taking away movie time, right? No, I'm just kidding. I volunteered this. Yes, Roth watched the. Okay, all right.
Garrison, you don't have to.
Yeah, he's meaning for your podcast, likely.
Yeah.
So we took the sci-fi out of this, and it was just horror. Who's winning for you?
Barbarian.
I'm guessing Barbarian. Yeah.
X is probably number 2.
Okay. Let me check out the horror films I watched last year real quick.
Yeah, I don't think I watched that many horror movies.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror buff.
Let's see. Oh, The Menu, if we're considering that horror. I don't know if you would. Fresh would be up there as well. X. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was a fun movie for sure.
Oh, Scream would have been up there for me. The Menu would have been up there for me.
Isn't that the movie they kept trying to nominate last year?
Scream, yes, they nominated Scream for best popcorn.
They didn't try. They did. They did.
Mikey nominated for best popcorn film, and I was like, "What?"
The menu was very good, and it's not your classic horror though, so it doesn't. I don't know how much.
I would consider that horror.
Yeah,
it's not. You're right. It's not like classic horror, but it's like a black comedy horror film.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm really. I don't know if Michael just forgot about Fresh or what, but
yeah, Resurrection was bizarre.
I don't. I was thinking about that today. I was like, I don't remember what happened in that movie.
So
I saw it like 2 weeks ago.
Remember Tim Roth got pregnant? That he swallowed. No, sorry, he swallowed the baby. And then she cuts it out of him at the end. So
yeah.
This movie sounds awful.
It kind of was. It kind of was.
It's not terrible, but
Now, if you want to watch a real,
Mikey, if you want to chime in, you always can. But
if you want to watch a wild movie, what was it? Bardo, False Chronicles of a Handful of Truths.
So
that was a wild movie.
I was not in love with Bardo, but I will give Bardo to this. Sorry, Earl. I don't think you want to watch Resurrection.
Not spoiled, saved from watching.
Yeah. Yes.
Similar to The Resurrection, we saved you.
Yeah. What was I saying? I don't know what I was saying.
Bardo.
Oh, give Bardo this. The cinematography is beautiful in that film.
Yes.
It is gorgeous. It should have been nominated for an Oscar, which I think it was. So
it was.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was in my top 5 of the year. I loved that movie. It was so weird.
It was
and I don't think I can ever watch it again, but it was.
It's also very long.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Didn't see it.
I was very much an unreliable narrator kind of film, sort of.
It's still on my watch list. I didn't remove it.
I mean, I don't want to spoil the ending of that one, but yeah.
Well,
there's a baby in that one.
Yes, and that's what sort of jogged my memory on that. But like in the first 2 minutes, a baby gets unborn.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
His umbilical cord is still attached, and he's like waddling around or whatever, and then he goes back in.
And then decides to go crawl back in.
Yeah.
That's
first 2 minutes.
Yep.
Sounds like a Nicodemus Jesus conversation. We're gonna just keep bringing the.
All right,
moving us on.
that was me.
Oh, you're controlling it.
I'm controlling it.
Oh, I'm giving Michael way too much credit.
Yeah,
I should be giving Nate the credit.
He's not playing us off here.
Okay,
that's me playing us off.
Thank you, Nate, for
start playing lo-fi, which is
All right, so best drama we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Don't Make Me Go, Living, The Whale, and Women Talking. And All Quiet on the Western Front was the winner there.
Yes, I saw all 5 of these.
I only saw 3 of these.
Let me go. I had Women Talking at 5, Whale at 4, Don't Make Me Go at 3, Living at 2, and All Quiet at 1. And All Quiet was a fantastic film. Maybe the best picture nominee that Netflix has ever put out, in my opinion.
I had it at 5.
Gosh,
this is the moment from last year where Nate realized that we had votes.
Jacob, I mean, you have to have had this at 1, right?
I had it at 2.
Oh man,
I had The Whale at 1 because
Whale was 1 for me.
Oh my god!
The only reason I had The Whale above it is because The Whale is more drama than All Quiet was to me.
See, I just didn't care about the drama. I was like, okay, like there's an interesting story in there, and Sadie Sink gives a really good performance. So does Brendan Fraser. But yeah, also when I get hit with that scene at the beginning where he's on the laptop, and I was just like,
yeah, interesting. Yeah, it It wasn't my favorite movie of all time, but it certainly did have some real drama and.
He's supposed to be a guy that's basically eating himself to death, and making really stupid choices. But yeah.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
That's a good Fraser Whale impression.
I just could not get into All Quiet on the Western Front.
Really?
And I've seen
It's
like
not.
like the 90s version, and to me that did a better job of like
the 90s
showing.
version. Wasn't there a
Well, maybe it was
40s version?
Well, there was like a TV
I believe
miniseries version somewhere.
Was it German?
Okay. Well, there was also
no,
a
it was in English.
1930. The 1931, I believe, won Best Picture.
Yeah,
it did. But I think the one that I saw, which I'm guessing was from the 90s somewhere, maybe it was 80s, it just did a better job of showing like how those kids going in were sort of like brainwashed into thinking like they were invincible and it was so perfect. And I think that this movie didn't do as good of a job with that. The horrors of war, they definitely got right.
So that's interesting. I felt like, and so I haven't seen the other adaptations, but I felt like we got enough of like understanding where they got their ideals, where they got their ideals from, and why they really wanted to go to war, that I was fine with it. But I haven't seen any other versions of it, so I can't compare how I feel about that. But I thought it was a really, really well done World War I film.
I'll be honest, I'm actually kind of closer to Nate here. I gave it a 72 out of 100.
I gave it.
I gave it 3.5 stars. I am kind of agreeing with you, Nate. I was expecting more heartbreak. I shouldn't judge a movie on what I was expecting, but and like the war scenes were really well shot, and like a lot of it was done really well. I didn't really care about like Daniel Brühl's character at all. That stuff was just kind of boring. A lot of it was boring. But I had to read the whole time.
Oh man, go away. I'm gonna get on my soapbox for my number 2 though, which was Living. I thought that was fantastic. Bill Nighy, yes, Earl, thank you. Bill Nighy gave a great. Is that how you say his name?
I think just Bill Nighy.
Thank you, Earl. Bill Nighy. I'm gonna say Nighy for now.
I'm pretty sure I've looked it up. It's just Nighy.
Oh, whatever.
I really have looked it up.
That's confusing.
It is. It is very confusing. But it's one of my. It's more like whenever I'm talking like Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm like, yeah, did you know Bill Nighy plays what's his face? And they're like, the science guy. I'm like, no, the actor.
Yeah, I thought Living was a fantastic, and I know it's a remake of a Kurosawa film, which I really need to see, Ikiru. But I thought it was a fantastic, just movie about life and aging and making the most of it. I thought that was really interesting film.
Well, I'm gonna break your heart again here, Garrison. That was number 4.
Okay, all right.
I had The Whale at number 1, and then Women Talking at 2, followed by Don't Make Me Go at 3. I really liked Don't Make Me Go.
Don't Make Me Go is also my number 3. I can understand why Women Talking would be number 2. If it resonated with you, it's a drama. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like The Whale. It's very play to me, and that may hurt it subconsciously with me a little bit because I'm not huge into films that feel like they're just a stage play filmed. But I also just had I'm just going to get into a little bit of the script. These women, they're fantastic, but they sound like philosophers, and they've not been educated. They've not been educated to the slightest. And I'm like, holy cow, they're holding like really weird, like and interesting, more philosophical debates. And I'm like, no way that a woman in a colony like this would be able to do all this. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. They have the capability of doing it, but they're not educated, and that will hold them back in a sense. I feel like there wasn't enough dumb representation in the film, but undereducated representation in the film. But yeah,
I can see that.
Again, I just thought it was boring.
I mean, it was not the most exciting movie, but
No.
definitely was a drama.
Yes. Dang straight.
You're just back into old habits of hitting on the women characters.
Yeah, I know.
Whole movie.
Well, they don't even have
Imagine if
like a.
Catwoman was in this thing. Oh, crucify.
She's pointless in the Batman. She really is, man. He probably makes that thing 3 hours. I mean, we cut it down a little bit. I mean, anyway.
So do we agree with the Deucies here?
Yes, I agree with the Deuces.
Yeah.
But let me
right.
let me just say real quick, Aussie Nate, don't make me go. Actually, really good, but the ending is total whiplash. If you haven't seen the film, just
Which one?
brace yourself.
For which
Don't make
movie?
me go.
Don't make me go.
Oh, I've seen all of these.
I know. I'm saying, but to the audience, if they haven't seen it, that ending is total whiplash.
I think Banshees could have been in here.
That's a fair point.
That one probably would have won. Cha-Cha Real Smooth could have been in here. That one would have been up there for me. I liked that movie a lot.
I liked it too, but I don't know if I would be like drama,
Yeah.
I had down Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Did either of you see that?
No, I knew about it.
I did not.
That was a good little movie. I also had a Hustle down.
I didn't see that one either.
Was that
Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler basketball
Netflix
one.
Yeah, I didn't. I wanted to see that one.
Oh.
Look, I just watched what the Deucies tell me to watch.
Yeah, I think Banshees and Cha-Cha would have given some others a run for its money.
Yeah. What the heck? I'm being attacked from all sides here.
All right, moving on to Best Actress. We have Cate Blanchett for Tar, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Rebecca Hall for Resurrection, Margot Robbie for Babylon, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Michelle Yeoh was the winner here. What do you think about this one, Roth?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. This one, I had Michelle Williams winning as my number one, and Michelle Yeoh was my number two. She was very good, and I think she's deserving of it. I almost feel like this is some weak nominations. I'm going to take a look at what I think what else could have been in there, but I don't know if it was the greatest year based on the actual movies, not necessarily the performances, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I went through and I tried to look at, for each of the categories, other movies or performances I would put in. There wasn't a lot for Best Actress.
Mia Goth, where was she at? Oscars disrespected her, and so did the Deucies.
See, I haven't seen Pearl, so
I haven't either. I've seen X.
She was in X too,
yeah,
right?
I've only seen X, yeah. I think Georgina Campbell from Barbarian was very good in that as well. And I don't know if anybody watched Superman show on FX that only was one season. She was Light as Zod.
Krypton.
Krypton, yeah. I really liked that show. She was in that, and she was very good in that too. That's the only other place
I didn't vote in this category because I hate women.
Dakota Johnson for Cha-Cha Real Smooth should have been in the conversation as well.
I voted for Michelle Yeoh for number one, and I actually had a kind of a tough time with it because I think Cate Blanchett did give a fantastic performance in Tar, but I think they both give fantastic performances, and The Edge is just kind of the film to me, and I prefer Everything Everywhere to Tar, just personally.
I was bored throughout Tar, and it was 3 hours of just nothing.
I was bored at times. There were other times where I was like, "This is." I get why it's nominated for Best Actress because it's just a very
Raise my hand on that one. Sorry,
it's a very Oscars film, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It sounds like this one was kind of a slam dunk.
Yep, Michelle Yeoh.
I think
she's just a fantastic.
I think Dave said Yeah, she was 1 or 2 on everyone's ballot. So
Go watch
That's-
Super Cop if you want to see more of her.
all right. Let's see. What do we got next? Best brain candy movie. So we have Avatar: The Way of Water, The Batman, Bullet Train, The Lost City, Nope, and Top Gun: Maverick.
I think we'd be remiss to talk about the fact that Pinky, it's his award, and he got to announce the winner, and he was so excited when Top Gun: Maverick, the best film in this category and the rightful winner, won.
It was obviously my number one. I do think calling Top Gun Maverick brain candy is a little bit of a disservice to it.
Yeah,
because
it's tough.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's why Bullet Train was. Oh wow, why did I do that? Oh no, I sunk Bullet Train. I'm sorry.
Oh
guys.
no, I put Bullet Train as my number 3. To be fair,
it was my number 3 behind Batman.
wow,
don't
that
know
was
what
my exact ballot too.
Oh wow, when voting for brain candy, I really should have had a slightly different mindset. I think that's my bad.
I had it number 1. To me, this is like this year. Bullet Train is like complete brain candy, and like last year, like Free Guy, complete brain candy.
Yep. I completely agree. Yeah. I'm still fine with Top Gun Maverick taking home another award.
For sure.
Personally, my Top Gun Maverick agenda over here.
Especially because everything
was really good.
So many awards. Top Gun had to get a few in there too.
And Top Gun was like a really good movie. I just don't know if this is the right category for it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's almost like the blockbuster category.
Yeah.
But they just call it brain candy almost.
I don't know if this is a hot take, but Avatar was my number 6 one. Even though Avatar, I actually gave like a relatively fairly high score. It was like an 81 in my book. But the Avatar: The Way of Water is not a brain candy movie to me. It's so long that it like almost can't be. Like it's like a brain frying movie with the length.
Look, The Lost City was my number 6, and I'll put it plainly. It's fine. It's cute, but it's not enough to be brain candy for me. It's dumb, certainly.
Lost City was my number 4.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, Bullet Train Hive.
I was shocked with Bullet Train. I thought was going to win a lot more awards than it did, but
well, you should have lobbied. That's what I was thinking this whole award season. I was like, what do I need to like slip like $5 towards somebody and be like, hey, vote for this.
Now I know for next year.
I think that would be
he's a rookie voter, Garrison.
I think that would be frowned upon, but yeah.
Because this award, all these awards are so prestigious and unbiased and untainted.
Earl versus Michael's
Earl
comments.
says we can't be bought, and then Mikey takes prize.
Mikey as the Deucecast.
Mixed messaging going on here, guys. Yeah.
So, with all that being said, do we think that Top Gun Maverick was the rightful winner, or should it have been Bullet Train?
You got me thinking now. I would still at least have Top Gun Maverick second. The Batman's not even really brain candy to me. I don't know why I put that second. Batman is much more cerebral than Whoops.
I had that way down. It was a good movie, but it wasn't brain candy.
It's a great brain candy movie that's also very long, but very brain candy. RRR. RRR deserved this spot
probably.
Here.
Yeah. I've not seen it.
I had that as
trailer looks like it.
Oh, the introduction scenes where they introduced the two characters.
So
just
good.
like just watch that first, like, I don't know, those two scenes together are like 30
Michael,
minutes.
you've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
The rescuing the kid scene. That's the scene that I keep going back to in my head because it's so outlandish. And then the like budding friendship was just the whole song, and it's
So
just
look,
it's
let me
so
also
dumb, but it's so good.
let me end this my take on this award with just saying that Pinky was so excited that Top Gun won, and he's the one who came up with this award, or the award was made up in his honor. I don't even remember at this point. That if the guy who originated the award was so excited that it won, that maybe it was the right winner.
That's true.
But maybe I would have voted Bullet Train in a different reality.
All right. Well, I think you just talked yourself into it. All right. Best screenplay. Ryan Johnson, Glass Onion, A Knives Out movie. Kazuo Ishiguro for Living. The Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Martin Madonna for The Banshees of Inisherin. Cooper Wraith for Cha Cha Real Smooth. Seth Rice and Will Tracy for The Menu. And the Daniels took this one home. What do you think, Roth?
The Daniels came in at number 3 for me. I had McDonough for Banshees at number 1 and Cooper Ray for Cha Cha Real Smooth at number 2. It's fine. I get it. I get why it won, but I just liked those other 2 movies more than Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Am I still here for you guys?
Yeah.
Yes, your voice is, your picture is frozen.
Okay, yeah, my computer's frozen. So let me just say that Banshees of Inisherin was my number 1 personally. I greatly enjoyed that film. I thought the writing was really fantastic. Oh, thank God I'm back. Okay.
You're back.
I thought the writing was fantastic, and I thought it was the best written thing of anything in this category.
Mhm.
Everything Everywhere was number 2, but it's also like Everything Everywhere also almost feels at times like it's a lot of improv as well
Mhm.
throughout the film, which is fine. Wow. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
to me, that's kind of your
That's
top
fair.
2. I personally, and I'm not, I would probably put Living at 3, but nothing's loading for me anymore, so I don't know if I did put Living at 3. Maybe
Tough.
Menu. I don't know.
Menu was 4, Glass Onion was 5, and I did not see Living.
Oh, I got it back. All right. I had Living at 3. Okay. Menu at 4. Cha Cha at 5. And we won't speak about the Knives Out film that Mikey wants to call something else.
David, I think you should continue it because I think it's great. I think it's great insight.
I
I
love it
the
too.
Daniels at number 1. That was I don't know. I just felt like that story was so like mind bending, and there were so many pieces that all tied together that that was not only was it my favorite movie of the year, but I think it was definitely my number 1 here. Banshees was number 2, and it was pretty close.
Banshees
it's about nothing, but so good at the same time.
Banshees was probably the most underrated movie of the award season, and and just barely lost on a lot of categories, I think. Sadly.
Yep.
Deserved a little more recognition.
I think I'm the only one here, but like Cha Cha Real Smooth, I did not like that movie. That was number 6, and it was like if I could have put it like 9 or 10, I would have put it that far down. But
as a 25-year-old man who's about the same age as Cooper Rafe, I really thought I wasn't going to like the movie. And there were certain points in the movie I was like, oh, man. And he may be the weakest actor in the film, but the writing was not the worst on this list, in my opinion.
I don't know. There's just something about it where I really liked that movie. I was with Michael where it just I don't know. It just hit me right. And I love Dakota Johnson.
Yeah.
You know, I thinking about it, the writing the writing was probably stronger than the performance. Like because he played the main guy, right? He just was trying to be charming but wasn't charming, and he just drove me crazy for that whole movie.
Yeah, he's kind of hit or miss on some scenes. In fact, there were a couple of scenes where I was like, "Oh man, you're the director. I hope you saw that was not the best take." But otherwise,
I
thought it was a pretty solid movie from a guy that's that young and his second film.
the other problem I'm running into is I saw it so long ago. Like at the
I
beginning of
saw
the
it
year
in-
when I saw it in August.
I
I
saw
guess
it
so
in
that's not
January,
that long ago, but I have a terrible memory, so it's really long ago
or
for
whatever
me.
it was. Yeah.
And I didn't, but I don't remember him trying to play like super charming. I read it more as like an awkward charming, where like he's not. I don't know. He's
He's trying to find himself and figure himself
yes.
out. He's at a stage in my life that I'm kind of in.
Oh,
In
for
terms
sure.
of
I'm definitely there too.
trying to find a job and a girlfriend that hopefully turns into a wife, whatever, a future relationship that you're actually trying to have a relationship with, but she is already in a relationship. It is really interesting stuff. Yeah, he's probably the weakest part though. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and I'm past all that stuff, so that maybe it just hit a little differently for me.
Yeah.
I'm old and married. All right, so the Daniels, we think that was
I think it's fine.
I get it.
I would have Banshees over it. Please do not get it. I'm all right. I'm okay. I will not get in a relationship with a married woman.
All right. On the best song or score, we have Carter Burwell for the Banshees of Inisherin, Michael
Giacchino,
thank you, for the Batman, Justin Hurwitz for Babylon, John Williams, who Mikey calls a hack, for the Fablemans. We have David Byrne Minsky and Sun Lux for This Is a Life from Everywhere, Everything, All at Once.
All right,
and then
Babylon
won.
I'm just gonna put it out there. The Oscars performance of This Is a Life made me not like the song.
It was so bad.
It's like, ugh, and that did affect my vote a little bit. That was number 5.
Yeah, it was number 5 for me as well. Babylon score was my number 1. RRR, Not Two should have been included, or the friendship song should have been included as well.
Yeah,
both were great.
Fableman's was kind of a forgettable score to me. It was fine.
I'm with you there.
The strongest 2 scores to me here are Babylon and Banshees. The Batman's good, but I think the strongest to me is in terms of scores are those 2. And Babylon, I really loved. I don't love the film, but the score is great. It's fantastic. It's exactly what Hurwitz continues to do really well in the other films by Chazelle. But he also literally takes some of I think he literally uses Someone in the Crowd and Another Day of Sun, specifically from La La Land, kind of motifs from those songs throughout the score. And you can hear it. And like, I'd be like, oh yeah. And like, it literally starts playing those notes and then it moves on from that and kind of inverts it in a darker way. I thought that was really interesting.
I actually had Giacchino's Batman as my number 2, but to talk about the Banshee score a little bit, I mean, not Martin McDonough, Brendan Gleeson wrote that violin piece, and so
really?
Yeah, so I think that's really cool and should give some more credence to that score as well, because that's a fantastic piece on the violin, and the rest of the score is very strong as well.
Yeah, that was my number 1. I thought that one should have won. I had Babylon at 3.
I'm a La La Land mark, and if you're gonna put La La Land motifs in your other film about Hollywood, and there's also just other great jazz themes throughout the film, and other great just great.
The main score of Babylon does such a good job of just like creating so much tension and like really like kind of gets you like working up, and it makes you almost short of breath. It's
Justin Hurwitz is a brilliant storyteller. Same with Chazelle, although I think he missed a little bit with Babylon, but still. Did anyone have it above 5?
I had it at 4, I think.
4? Okay.
I had the Batman score at 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I think part of that was I saw that so long ago that I didn't really remember it, and I figured if it didn't really stick with me, then.
And I will say I don't think the Batman score was the strongest thing in the world. I just think I probably I probably should have had Banshees and Batman flipped. But it's solid, and it was especially that the really low
Dun,
part
dun,
was very
dun,
memorable.
dun.
Yeah,
Dun, 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 dun.
very Imperial Marchy as well.
Yeah, it is.
So, do we think Babylon was the worthy winner here?
Yes, I think so.
I can live with that. But yeah, I think I was with Roth. I think what is it, Natu Natu from
Mhm.
RRR, that not only should have been on here, but should have won.
It's so good.
It was so good.
I think we should do This Is a Life performance right now. All right, 3, 2, no.
Mine will sound like it did at the Oscars.
See, I don't watch the Oscars. I like to know who wins, but I don't want to watch all the pageantry
Smart
and
man.
all that business.
I
My
watch
wife,
it
on the
every
other
year.
hand, she loves the pageantry of it, so she just calls out to me the winners from the other room. And we're both happy that way.
Fraser won.
Yeah.
Exactly what it's like. Thanks.
That's great.
Wait, and now I want to know what happened when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
She paused it and she came in and she was like, "You need to come watch this." And I came out and I watched it and I was like, okay. And then, wait, was that real or?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yep.
I wish there was a slap every year. That was awesome.
There are probably some people that need slaps. So.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Our next award was for Best Supporting Actress. We have Hong Chow for The Whale, Kerry Condon for Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dakota Johnson for Cha Cha Real Smooth, and Sadie Sink for The Whale, and Kerry Condon won for Banshees.
I got really spiteful with this vote. As soon as Jamie Lee Curtis won the Oscar, I said, I probably would have put her at 6 anyway, but I put her at 6. I just was that cemented it in stone. I was like, no.
I also had her at 6. I had Kerry Condon as my 1 and Dakota Johnson as my 2.
Kerry Condon was my 1, and let me check for my number 2 real quick. It was supporting actress.
Stephanie Hsu is my 3.
Stephanie Hsu was Hsu, whatever her name is, was mine at 2. And Sink, I think, was my 3 because she was really good in that film.
She was my 4. Tempting. I kind of looking at it now. I'm like, maybe I should have had her at 3 instead of Stephanie Hsu.
I liked Sink more than Chow and The Whale personally.
I did not care for Chow's whale performance. I thought it was fine, but it was a little annoying. Maybe that's what
I
it's
don't know
supposed
that I was
to be,
annoyed by it, but I was just kind of like, whatever. I didn't really understand the awards it was getting.
I didn't either.
Nominated for.
Yeah, I had Sink at 2. I thought that she was just like so powerful in that performance and
dynamic for sure.
Yeah. And I think that she played perfect opposite Frasier. Like those two together in those scenes was just awesome. I don't know. I had Dakota Johnson at 6 because I hated that movie, which is probably not fair, but that was my spite vote.
Getting back to The Whale, I like when he's abducted by the aliens at the end. That's a great shot. That's my headcanon for the film. He just starts floating.
So I think we're all pretty in agreement here that
I think Condon should have won the Oscar.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But that was just a carryover of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Love
got swept up in
the getting at least an award that it probably shouldn't have.
Yeah,
in that one.
Did Banshees win anything?
I don't think it did. And the sad thing is, I was rooting for it for score. And look, I love All Quiet on the Western Front. The score to me was the one part of it I was like, I don't really like this electronic stuff.
Yeah, and I can't even think of anyone that like we missed as far as
I think it's a solid
performances either.
list.
Yeah,
I think this is a
it's
very
pretty
solid
good
list. I think we had better supporting actress performances than leading actress stuff this year.
Yep, I would agree with that.
I think I agree. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to Best Actor. Austin Butler for Elvis, Tom Cruise for Top Gun Maverick, Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Bill Nye for Living, and Paul Mescal for After Sun. And Fraser obviously won this one. In what I'm guessing was probably a landslide. Though actually, there's probably a lot of Tom Cruise love in the Deucies.
I actually had Colin Farrell as my number one.
I
Really?
had interesting. Well, okay, I'll give you my top three. I'll go. Okay, number 3, Brendan Fraser. Number 2,
Wow.
Colin Farrell, and number 1, Tom Cruise.
I had Cruise at 3, Fraser at 2.
I debated all 3 of those. They were at
Mhm.
different points at some point on my ballot. But yeah, I just wanted to give Tom Cruise my number 1. I just loved his performance in Maverick personally. I thought it was one of the best performances of the year, and I was kind of sad it didn't get recognized anywhere else. But Colin Farrell may have been the best performance of the year, bar none. Fraser just has a great story and a great performance.
For sure. I had Mezcal at my number 5, which was my last because I haven't seen Living. After Sun was a weird movie.
Yeah, I didn't really.
I don't think I cared for it. I
didn't really get the awards hype for his performance.
I didn't get the love for it. I got the movie, but I just didn't get what it was like. It seemed like so many young people were like so obsessed with it online.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know where you're coming from here.
I think Don't Make Me Go. Is that what it is? I think that's a better film than After Sun, which kind of has almost a similar feel.
That makes sense with the way it was broken down there. Scal and Nye at the bottom, Butler and Cruise in the middle. Fraser.
Wow,
okay.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
Yeah,
that's probably me dragging that down a little bit. My bad.
Yeah,
God.
No,
I mean, I was glad that even though I had Top Gun at 1 and I had Colin Farrell at 2. Notice how I said that. Interesting. I'm very okay with Brendan Fraser winning the Deucey, and I think it's well deserved.
I had him at 1 and Farrell at 2, and then I had Austin Butler ahead of Tom Cruise.
See, Butler gives a good performance, but I also did not care for the film, and Tom Cruise sinks it. Hanks sinks it a little bit too.
Yeah,
which is probably negatively affecting my view on it.
Alexander Skarsgård may have been in the conversation here for me for The Northman a little bit, because he was very good in that, very intense.
The only other one I had down was maybe like Ralph Fiennes for The Menu.
Yeah, I think that's supporting.
He was supporting, though, right?
Support,
yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Let's see.
But yeah, I didn't have Tom Cruise as high because I knew he'd already won a Deucey for Mission Impossible 2, so he didn't need to double up.
Yeah. I think maybe Sam Worthington for Avatar.
Sam
just kidding.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anyone else I would have put in there.
I also had John Cho for what was it?
Don't Make
Me Go.
Yeah,
he was really good in that.
He was. Yeah, I don't have anything personally that I would have put in there. But it's just not a.
That seems like a personal attack, Michael.
Yeah. Whoa. You should apologize to John Woo.
And he's Doves.
Yeah, exactly.
The Rock for Black Adam probably deserved a spot here.
No. His ego, but yeah.
Yeah. The outfit. Mark Rylance was really good in that. I just saw that pop up. He was really good in it.
I wanted to see it when it was in theaters, and I just missed it.
Yeah. I think it's on Amazon Prime now. But yeah. I think that's all I got. That another strong category.
Yes.
Maybe the guy from Decision to Leave, but no one would have voted for him. So Parquet eel.
Yeah, I would have had to rent that one. I would have done it just so I could get 100%
I had
on the
movie
Deucies.
last year, so
I think we're probably all in agreement this was a worthy winner here.
Very
and
fair.
great
Yep.
story.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
like Kihi Kwan, great story.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Best director, Damien Chazelle for Babylon, Todd Field for Tar, Joseph Kosinski for Top Gun Maverick, Martin Madonna for Banshees of Inisherin, Jordan Peele for Nope, and the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And the Daniels won this one.
I think we're underselling the title here. I think it is best directing achievement by a director who directed a film.
It's true.
See, that didn't fit on the slide very nicely.
My dad and I did this category.
Mhm.
He was wanting to do this whole scripted thing like they do at the Oscars and come up with all these jokes, and then we didn't have any time to do that. So we got told like, oh, we need the file soon, and we just went, all right, let's just do off the cuff real
It
quick.
would have been cut anyway, so
Yeah, I know. Release the Glosson cut. We put it at the end of the episode. No, it's supposed to be in the middle of the episodes. You've hurt the integrity of Glosson's whole bit.
It's
I will also say I didn't
is
notice.
that or McClunky worse?
I would have never noticed it was edited if Dave didn't say anything. It was really well
No.
edited.
Yeah, I would have never. I had the Daniels at number 3. I had Kaczynski at 1 and McDonough at 2.
I had Kaczynski at 1, Daniels at 2, McDonough at 3.
I don't have the love for Everything Everywhere All at Once as everybody else does. That was an 8-minute bit. It's a podcast. Length doesn't matter. But I get why they won it, but I just loved those other two movies so much more.
I'm sorry. I love that. I have to come back in. I love that at the end of the episode, you could tell that they still didn't play all of Glosson's stuff because they cut out the first 2 takes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How did you have it ranked, Nate?
I had, let's see, Daniels at number 1. Mm-hmm. Then I had Top Gun Maverick at 2 and Banshees at 3.
Okay.
So Tar at 6. It brought the Tar out of me.
I had Tar at 6. I had Peele at 4, and I had Chazelle at 5.
I had Peele at 6. I had Tar at 5, and I had Babylon at 4. Even though I'm not in love with, I like Nope more than I like Babylon, but I don't know, the directing. I'm a Chazelle mark, so that's tough for me.
You did it. You broke him.
Let's go.
That's a win. Oh, there we go. An ultimatum.
I'll get the news to him.
Because you're Garrison Ryfun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Garrison Ryfun. Yeah.
So any complaints about the winner here?
I'm fine with it. I thought it's tough, but the Daniels definitely deserve the accolades I've gotten so far. But I also would have loved for Kaczynski to get some love.
Last year we talked about it. The Deucies became pretentious. We came back down to earth a little bit here, but this is that pretentiousness still slipping in there with the Daniels winning it.
So Everywhere All at Once is kind of an interesting film because a lot of people went, "Oh, the Oscars finally weren't pretentious this year," and it's like the film, like to me personally, it borders kind of like on the edge. It's like still kind of pretentious in a sense, but it's like it's out there weird pretentiousness if you get what I'm saying.
Yes, it's
A24, so it's still got that feel to it. But
if Everything Everywhere All at Once was a city in the United States, it would be Austin, Texas, or Portland, Oregon.
These mean nothing. Okay.
Weird.
Yes.
Weird cities that like hipster,
weird but lovable.
Like weirdo, like don't really shower. Like
yeah. Like all the people from Oregon. We all know those Oregon people. Yeah.
See, this is the Dr. Earl pretentiousness sneaking into the Deucecasts. any other year before last year, I feel like Kaczynski was the shoe-in.
But I had Babylon at 4. You said everyone else had it at 5. I had it at 4. But yeah, I didn't try.
I had it
for
at 5.
Babylon.
That's very surprising. I didn't know David liked that movie that much.
Yeah.
I thought it was just Michael
well,
that was
he liked the directing.
the directing. I guess that's fair.
Did we have any snubs that we should have had in here?
Good question.
I had what's his name?
I think All Quiet.
Alejandro from Bardo.
Inarritu. I think
Yeah.
that's how he says his last name.
Yeah, it is.
What
I
about
think
Jim?
All Quiet is missing for me personally. I think that's really well directed. I think the Batman is really well directed.
Yeah. I think Eggers for the Northman could have been in the
Yep.
conversation as well.
Yeah.
So
Eggers
this
is
one
always
could
a-
have had about 10 or 12
Yeah,
nominees.
that's a tough category. I even think David Leitch for Bullet Train, just for the film that it is, the directing is fantastic.
A lot of moving pieces.
Oh, he did put it up. I didn't.
Yeah,
think
it's
he was
like,
gonna
oh, I
put it
know why
up.
he's not putting it up on the screen.
Yeah, I think those are the couple that could have been on the list there.
All right. It kind of sounds like we're all happy with the winner here.
I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not.
I'm fine.
I'm planting my flag. Should have been Kaczynski and McDonough in the conversation.
I think that's the top 3 for me, easily.
I feel like that's been true in a lot of these categories where like
Well, it's the best 3
Banshees-
films, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're just fighting it out and it's been a
just
tough
what your
run.
preference is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then the big one here, Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front, Babylon, Cha Cha Real Smooth, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Living, and Top Gun Maverick. And Top Gun Maverick took it home.
I'll be
What do we
honest
think?
here. This was a sabotage by me a little bit. I put Everything Everywhere All at Once at 5. So I'm like, I don't want this thing.
Jacob.
I did. Fablemans was 2. Babylon was 3. Cha Cha Real Smooth was 4. Everything Everywhere All at Once was 5. And All Quiet was 6. And actually how I did it, I just did it based off of my like actual number rankings. And that's how it played out.
I have a list on Letterboxd that has every favorite movie from every year I've been alive. Favorite movie from every year I've been alive is what it's called. Yeah. And you can see what my favorite movie of 2022 was. And so you can tell how I voted on that category. It was Top Gun. And number 2 was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
See, I had those two flipped, but I mean, you can't be mad at Maverick winning.
No, that's the thing. And you know, the thing is, the Oscars gave it to Everything Everywhere. It got the highest honors. I think Top Gun Maverick's the perfect choice this year for the Deucies when that happened. Personally,
Yep.
So
No. I do promise that it was that is just based off of my rankings.
I'm not saying nothing.
I did not vote out of my actual opinion, for the record.
I feel like Fabelmans is really high up in the voting order there.
I liked The Fabelmans a lot. It was my number 2. It was actually also my number 2 of 2022.
Wow. Well, yeah, you do love films like Fabelmans and that 2021 film by Kenneth Branagh that I'm blanking on. Yeah.
Belfast, yeah. Belfast was my number 1 movie of
feels like a similar type of film.
For sure. And like I love movies about Hollywood. Like I'm like the Oscar voters.
Well,
like
La La Land is to me
La La Land,
similar.
Babylon for that matter.
Babylon was interesting. It was an experience.
It was
for sure.
Especially that last part.
The elephant
psychedelic trip with the different colors. That was I still think at some point Chazelle is going to like send out a tweet, and anybody who reads the tweet is gonna like jump off a building or something. I think he was.
Wow, everything was that close to winning Best Picture. If you had just put it where I put it, it would have won Best Picture. Holy cow!
Wow.
Dang.
I mean, it was number one for me. That was my favorite movie of the year by like a long
I guess I'm just
shot.
surprised that most people like that it was just a runaway for Top Gun, and in it too runaway.
It wasn't in my top 10 of 2022. It wasn't.
Wow.
This is interesting. I'm glad we got those results.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stats to have.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. And I'm very happy I voted the way I voted.
I remember, funny enough, Jacob, I'll tell a story. In the 2019 voting year, Parasite was up for Best Picture. And I thought, I know the guys really love, what is it? The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could crater that film. And then I didn't. And then Mikey goes, and it was a really close race. Whatever. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go. That's the Deucies.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad we have such a broad voting category, body then.
Yeah, I guess I assumed that Top Gun Maverick would be pretty much everyone's number one.
I did too.
Yeah.
If I need to release my numbers, they're already out there. It's on Letterboxd. You can go look at the data behind my picks.
I feel like do it.
I like this. If I'm going down, I'm taking you two down with me.
I don't think that far ahead. I'm just like, this one, shiny.
No, my whole thing is now to literally just vote how I feel. But that year I was like, Parasite. I didn't want the Oscar anyway. I was like, I'm
fine. Last year, Coda won Best Picture. Minari the year before. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. God. The Favorite, Blade Runner 2049, Manchester by the Sea, Mad Max Fury Road, Whiplash, and American Hustle.
Crater us. Oh, man. I didn't even realize Earl was still here.
Wow, look at that from the sci-fi horror one.
Wow.
And half a point. That amazing.
Surprises me too.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
You have that many Nope lovers?
I know. Where did I have Nope?
I enjoyed it. Yeah. I can't remember where I had it.
I had Nope at 4. That's very surprising.
I didn't realize people had it so high up.
I had it at 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Michael and Burgess.
Let me see where I put it. 3. I guess, yeah, that's decently high.
So let's put our prediction caps on. Do we think the worst movie category will ever come back?
Probably not.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Then you have to watch the worst movies too, which is like at the same time you're kind of like, I would love for it to come back in a certain sense because it was always a part of the show. But yeah,
well, I think that gave us our first 2-time winner in who was it? Jack Sparrow. Who played Johnny Depp?
Really?
What was that?
Johnny Depp was the first 2-time Deucey winner, both for worst actor.
That's hilarious.
That's very funny.
This page is just for historical info. This page is not to be voted on. If you do, you are an idiot. There's a peek behind the curtain there on the ballot. That is on the previous winners page.
I've got to say that page came in real handy because I've also created a Deuces spreadsheet. And there's one year where one of the awards, I swear, was not announced because I listened to that episode about 3 or 4 times trying to find it, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and that's the only place it was. I can't even remember what movie it was or what category, but
Scoop might come back. I think it's important for people to watch bad movies. because
Yeah.
it puts into perspective the average movies.
Sometimes, though, you watch so many mediocre and bad movies that you start to go, do I hate movies now?
For sure. For sure. But like a movie like Money Plane, did you guys watch Money Plane from a couple years ago with not Brendan Fraser, but the guy who plays Fraser? What's his name? He was in Jesus Revolution.
I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Who played Fraser?
Oh, Fraser Crane.
Yes.
Okay. Kelsey Grammer.
Kelsey Grammer. Kelsey Grammer was in a movie called Money Plane. It was so bad, but it was so awesome.
Didn't have Edge in it, the wrestler.
Yes. Denise Richards was in it, and she was awful. That's a movie I would recommend to everybody. I think it was direct to Hulu.
I think
Thomas Jane was in it.
How Did This Get Made did a podcast on it as well. That was pretty good.
There's a scene, I can't remember the exact words, but at one point, they're like, Kelsey Grammer's character is like, we have to send them to the Money Plane. And it's just so bad.
That's
it's good.
The title card.
Yes.
Well, looking back, I see that I think I've got 15 votes down for the Deucies getting it right, and then only like 3 or 4 for Deucies getting it wrong. So
this year was a lot less pretentious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, it just felt like the Deucies were back, guys. It felt like 2015 again when we got Mad Max Fury Road up for, Best Picture and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When we don't slight things like Spider-Man No Way Home from being in the Best Picture category, or like Dune wasn't even in there last year or in 21.
Is that true?
Yeah, didn't that happen?
Oh man, I'm pulling up my ballot right now. Best Picture last year: Minari, Sound of Metal, Bad Education.
No,
Mank,
that was 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
Dune had 6 nominations and 3 wins.
Where's Where's last year's ballot?
Let me find.
Did I not save last year's ballot?
Let me find. I got it. Let me pull it up. Deucey ballot. Best Picture: Coda, West Side Story, Licorice Pizza, Belfast, Mass, Last Night in Soho. Dune was not a Best Picture nomination. Neither was Spider-Man No Way Home, and I'm still jaded about this.
I would be too, actually. That's
Dune Part 2 will be the redemption for the Deucecast up in this upcoming year. I think there's a lot of blockbusters that actually have a chance to be nominated for Best Picture at the Deucies next year, just to throw that out there. There's a lot of blockbusters this summer that are, I think, going to be really good.
Okay, there's my 2022 Deucey ballot. I must have left it in the download folder because it had the little 1 in parentheses after it when I hit download on it.
I like how the voting has changed every year, by the way. Like, sometimes Dave will say to move the things into literal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the other times he'll just say to put the number next to the movie.
And I much prefer putting the number next to the movie because moving it, that was hard.
I don't care. Whatever way he wants it, I'm like, whatever.
For sure.
But putting the number next to it is easier, yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. I think we've done a pretty good job and talked for nearly 2 hours going over this made-up award ceremonies.
Like this video, subscribe to the Deucecast channel on YouTube. Subscribe to the Deucecast podcast.
The thing I really like about what we do with this one is it's not a podcast at all. We so interact with the chat and don't say what they're saying that it's so video driven.
For sure. But we're on the Deucecast YouTube. The Deucecast Extra is here every single night on Tuesday nights at 8 Mountain Time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Join us for that. It's the TV wing of the Deucecast. I'm wearing the Deucecast shirt, so I feel like I should be plugging. And they're letting us do it on the channel. Yeah, am I missing something? The Deucecast on Twitter, deucecast@gmail.com. Leave them reviews on iTunes and Spotify, on ratings on Spotify. Michael, am I missing anything? How am I doing?
You've just taken your weekly deuce.
Nate, do you want to go first for your plugs? Do you have plugs?
I am done. I have plugged all my stuff.
Good
Still
Day
don't
for a
have a
Movie
podcast.
podcast. Good Day for a Movie podcast is my podcast. Roth from Wyoming on the Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. Melissa Reagan, Deucecast favorite, was on our podcast, and we did Frequency. Our next episode is The Breakfast Club. Yeah. Garrison, what you got?
You can find me on Twitter at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3, and Instagram. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfun. And, I'll plug Dave is going to be potentially doing a Patreon soon. So get excited about
Magic
that
on
if you're
$1.
a Deucecast fan. There was talk of like a year ago, maybe having Jen watch the MCU films or something. Anyway, I'm interested in whatever they do. So that's Magic on $1. Not my podcast, though.
All right. Well, I'm not even sure if anyone's still here or not, but if you've braved it this far, thank you. I don't know. This was fun. I don't know if you guys are interested. If we should keep this going.
I'm in.
Make it a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, thanks to everyone for listening, and we'll see you again next year.